Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack. Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
With Indy in the rear view and Iowa in the forefront, Brian and I are in to recap all that was the Brickyard 400, as well as get ready as we take on the cornfields this week. We will talk all of our favorite early bets, see if there is any potential value. The betting boards are getting grosser and grosser by the week, but I do think there's a couple numbers that are sort of interesting to me. As always, we're here twice a week. We appreciate everybody with the delay. Brian was on his way back from Vegas and scheduling, whatnot, didn't work out. But make sure you click that like button. Make sure you click that subscribe button. We are here for you twice a week, every week. Before we recap the Brickyard, Brian, and jump into this week's race at Iowa, I do want to hit on a couple little newsy things. First, no more Mexico City, at least for now. No more Chicago Street, at least for now. Chicagoland is expected to be the Chicago Midwest hub. And then obviously they had the big San Diego announcement, the very exciting stuff. So NASCAR fans, I guess, are going to be excited that 2 road courses are going away and only one is replacing it. But after what we saw from the Brickyard with basically no passing unless you do it within 5 minutes, we'll see if it brings some fun racing. I mean, I think Chicagoland obviously has the potential to offer more. We'll talk about the tire situation in Iowa this week, which they keep telling us they're going to fix it with tires, and they keep not fixing anything with tires. Stages, though, are set up nicely so that we could have a little bit of a difference in. We'll talk about what Penske did first. But I guess... Are you bummed to see the Chicago Street Race and or Mexico go away? I think they're both fun to watch, but, especially with logistics for both of them and kind of the mutual understanding of, while we both would like to make these work, the math just isn't mathing. And so unfortunately they're both going to have to go away. Do you think we get them back, or what's your read on the situation? Where's your head at? Are you bummed to see them go away? All that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely bummed to see Chicago go away after having experienced it in person this year. I think just the atmosphere around the race was incredible, and the best atmosphere of any race that I've attended, including a championship race. Now, it sounds like a soft breakup, and like they may get back together next year or in 2027. For a schedule. And then the similar situation apparently with Mexico City, according to the reporting by Jordan Bianchi from The Athletic, is that a lot of the reason why Mexico City kind of got pushed aside is some scheduling conflicts with the FIFA World Cup, which is coming to America next year, and has Mexico and Canada as co-hosts with the United States. So, some of that I still kind of want to see it to believe it, that's actually an issue. And I find it kind of ironic that 2 of the most quite possibly worst run sports organizations in the world, FIFA and NASCAR, are at odds over a scheduling conflict, but that is what it is. But yeah, I do think Chicagoland should be fun if that is the destination. Now, a lot of these places that we're going back to, just like in baseball and football, when teams leave certain locations, they leave for a reason, and the races got eliminated from the schedule for a reason. So obviously people are going to be extremely excited this first time here, but if the on-track product still sucks, that excitement's going to wane rather quickly, and then it's going to go back to being a very low attended race. And then this NASCAR, people are just gonna be like, oh, well, screw it. We tried and it's gone. Bye again.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The nostalgia factor. It's like how they keep trying to make it NHL happen in Atlanta. And I'm just like, what are we?
It's not going to work.
There's a reason why we pulled out multiple times. I think your point's interesting. I think obviously, you being based out of San Diego, we're very excited about that race happening, and we'll see what it looks like going around the military base and kind of the shit show that's going to be. But The on-track product has the potential to be really exciting, and if they design a good course that is compelling, we could have some fun. Although SVG maybe just dust the field and
remember we are going to have Zillage next year though, so
that's true. We could have a hell of a compelling race.
If we get road courses and street course races where it's a two horse race, that's going to make it much better than although I appreciate Shane kicking the shit out of the field, it would be really cool to see, two.
I mean, the Xfinity race was so much more fun, and with both of them having a little more interest, we'll see. But the other thing I want to hit on is the Austin Hill suspension. Obviously not running this week, but it was interesting to hear Denny Hamlin's kind of thought process as somebody who drives the car and kind of what that might be and why his hands were where they were.
Dude, I was sitting there laughing that entire mini segment. Like, Denny, you just thinking in my head, I know he's trying to play devil's advocate, but
he's like, he can't be this stupid, right? And like, my other question to you is, if it's not Austin Hill and it's literally anyone else, I don't think the reaction and the assumption is that quick. But because it's Austin Hill, it should be like just like if it was Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
Like the assumption of, or the quick trigger, the asshole mentality, whatever. But at least they're putting Austin Dillon in the car, and he has no track record of right hooking anybody ever. So everything should be completely fine, right?
Look, it is funny that that's the guy. I mean, obviously just for his grandpa, but like, I do think though that regardless of who it was behind the wheel, when you have video evidence of clearly collected the car and then turned.
If you slow it down, obviously it looks like that.
He had white gloves on. Look,
motion. He's like,
when you have Mickey Mouse gloves on, you cannot hide anything. And
but like Denny said, he caught the steering wheel, and the steering
wheel
and the wheels are not in the same position.
At no point did it look like he was still out of control. And the only reason why he would turn the car left to correct it is if he felt like he was sliding or turning right, which he had already saved himself from doing.
And then it came back.
No. Oh my gosh.
It looked like the scene out of the Fast and the Furious. I mean,
no.
Granted, clearly NASCAR knows what they're talking about, and clearly I'm not. I just like to play devil's advocate and argue. And when Denny started arguing for the other side, I was like, "You're just Denny, me and you. Let's go, baby."
And I also think that, this year began with a lot of, I don't even know what the word is for it, but the NASCAR officiating to begin this year was inconsistent, to say the least.
Begin this year, to the whole year, they throw cautions at arbitrary times.
Well, that's what I mean. Like very beginning,
they make a one decision in the Xfinity race, and the next day at the Cup race, completely different.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. There was a lot of uncertainty from fans, media members, everybody that was watching the sport. Like, okay, so what is a caution? What isn't a caution? How are we going to police these things? Then we had an arbitrary call too when Austin Cindric did an egregious move at COTA. However, the one thing I want to say that people were trying to bring up that point is like NASCAR already acknowledged the difference of turning somebody at a short, slow speed track versus a intermediate or a super speedway type race. When you intentionally wreck somebody at a high speed track that can put somebody's life in danger, that is a much bigger story than turning somebody in the S's or into a corner at a road course. So people need to save it with that argument. To me, that's a non-starter there.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges. Yeah. So clearly he's an idiot, and clearly there's a reason why he hasn't got a Cup ride, and clearly his track record probably didn't help his situation, After so many incidents, it's just kind of like, all right, Austin, we get it. This is who you are. That's what you're doing. And
and then one last thing, I did want to send out some good thoughts to Stuart Friesen, one of the old guys, near and dear as an old head myself. He had that gnarly accident earlier this week. Like, if you haven't seen it, probably don't watch it because it's terrifying, to say the least. But apparently his surgery went well. He's still in the critical, or not critical, but he's still in the hospital, but sending good thoughts his way. Hopefully a speedy recovery. We'll see him back on the truck sometime soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these races are crazy, and obviously they're racing other stuff in between, and gnarly stuff happens, and we've seen it with cup drivers and obviously lower level too. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you click subscribe. Like I said, we're here twice a week. I'm going to pull up my screen so we can recap the week that was at the Brickyard, and then we'll get into this week at Iowa. Share my screen. Let's see. We'll go here. As always, go check out our friends over at Win the Race. It looks like they did an update, which is not awesome, but that's okay. They're running a promotion for through the end of the year where you can get Win the Race for basically like $30 a month, and with the end of the season coming and playoffs and all that good stuff, now is a great time to get in, see what they have to offer, hang out in the Discord, and see what you want to do, because by this time, the season will be going. Brian, we have like 3 weeks till the playoffs. We obviously have the playoffs, and then it's going to be over. Like it's so crazy, and then we're going to be starting the season again, and we're back for Daytona again. So highly recommend getting in there. Highly recommend going over to our friends over at Good Rival. AOP $25 or 100% match deposit up to $100. So highly recommend jumping over there, doing some pick slips, and having some fun picking some mores or lesses, all that good stuff. But with that being said, Brian Twining, let's take a gander at our DK, which actually went pretty well, I think, for the most part. We were able to cash with this beautiful lineup, consider even with Eric Jones basically getting us minus 30 points, which is shouts to Eric Jones. Dennis obviously was great. Started 39th, got to 13th. Chase Elliott, we'll talk about you in a little bit. You should have been a top 10 car. It was interesting to hear Denny go. Like, he knew pretty quickly when the race kind of got started. Obviously, they were running by each other, that Chase wasn't going to be like a top 5 guy, and clearly didn't even make it to the top 10. So we'll talk about the betting card in a second. Shouts to Brad K, who obviously got the top 5. Bowman started 21st, got in the top 10. Obviously, there was a little bit of carnage and nonsense at the end, and people running out of gas that kind of tweaked the final results. And then John Hunter, obviously 36th, finished as 12th. So we were big on him. And obviously us and about half the field were there. But he's one of the, like, sometimes there's chalk and it's going to be heavy. And obviously if you want to pivot off of it and hope that he's the legacy driver that crashes and not Eric Jones, then, you're going to put yourself in a really nice position. So I understand the thought process there and like the kind of the game theory, but he was somebody who just made so much sense based on the speed he showed and where he was starting, that even if he didn't get to like the top 5, was going to be an incredible play. And obviously he finished 12th and had a great day. And was really, really popular for a reason. The next lineup, very similar. Shouts to Bubba. We'll talk a little more Bubba here in a bit, but great day from the 23, who Brian Twining. This wasn't Talladega rain out, lucky win. Although he almost got another win due to the rain. He beat Kyle Larson twice on restarts and was like beating him. Like, he was throwing it in gear, getting out in front of him and running away from the 5. And it was awesome to see. And it was kind of interesting. I forget where I heard, maybe Denny was talking about it, but Larson was basically like, awesome, and shocker when you're
right. Yeah, I was just gonna say,
and just running away from people. And then as soon as he got into traffic, things didn't go quite as well. But shouts to the 23 team, incredible race day. Obviously, it's like we talked about, it's really hard to pass at the Brickyard, but he had 2 restarts against arguably the best driver in the sport.
And this is after he was running away. He had an over 3.5 second lead.
Yeah.
When that weather caution came out.
Yeah. Speaking of inconsistent red flags, although it did seem like it was raining. And then...
I'm so glad you brought this up. Look, we haven't had a Brian Old Guy rant yet, but why in the hell did they run so many effing yellow laps after they went back to yellow from red? That was the most ridiculous sequence that I may have seen all season.
I mean, you and Denny Hamlin handshake emoji on that one. Like, it was like, why are we running so many caution laps?
You should be ready to go immediately. It should be the first time around.
Yellow and then down pit road and then back out for yellow. Like, it should have been 1, 2, go. Like, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. Look, it's not going to change. And we're probably just stuck with this type of stuff.
But we definitely had some targets. Obviously, Hamlin, Elliott, Nemechek were really compelling. And obviously,
I will say Bowman to me was probably the biggest surprise performer. I think just because I wasn't as high on him as a lot of other people this week, in that I did obviously top 10 is definitely in the cards, but I didn't think he would be running, say, better than Elliott would at the end of the race.
Yeah, and but we kept getting to him. He was in a good price range. I think he made sense, and obviously, only 20% is kind of nice. But yeah, it was interesting spot, and obviously, he's been really good. He's been getting strong finishes, even at places where you don't traditionally expect him. So, shouts to him for that. And then we had a Hamlin, Larson, Briscoe. Ryan Preece, top 5. That was a great call by you. We'll look at that more in a minute. John Hunter. So, I mean, we put Preece in. Maybe we take Briscoe out and put in.
That was Bubba?
Yeah. I mean, we had some, or we put Preece in the Eric Jones. Well, probably can't do that. But, yeah, I mean, there's some stuff we could have done. So we did pretty good. All of our lineups cash, which is a big win for us. Even like this one with Stenhouse and Briscoe not really doing a ton between the two of them.
Briscoe's day to me was kind of ruined. I believe it might have been after the first pit site, after stage 1. He got cycled back in the running order at the end of the stage when they pit, and that was the end of his day of contention.
Yeah, and there was a couple points where he was going to get inside that top 10 and push forward again, and then he kind of went away and had issues and whatever.
I think that just goes to the fact that everybody should have been voting no on the was this a good race poll, because there was actually no racing happening.
You were talking about it. You have to basically dive bomb somebody in order to get a pass, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, Denny said it on his podcast that on Actions Detrimental, he was saying that you have to be running around a second or more faster than the guy you're trying to pass in order to actually make the pass.
Yep. In most tracks, it's
crazy to hear.
1/10, maybe 2/10. And this is over. You have to be a second plus.
That's faster. Wild.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. I'd be happy if this wasn't on the schedule anymore, but that's me.
You're gonna start a war, man.
That's fine. I'm a new NASCAR fan. I don't have the nostalgia brain that some of the old NASCAR fans have, and I totally get the excitement for what was, but it's just not fun racing. It's not compelling. It's not interesting.
I mean, I guess it's been like this since they've started coming here. So,
yeah. How close do you think we are to getting a new?
Not close. You're going with a car?
Yeah.
No chance.
No chance. We're just stuck with this for a decade.
This thing has only been here for 3. This is the 4th
but it's
year.
Clearly not working. And they try 6,000 versions of tires.
Yeah,
maybe
but
someone who's smarter than me can explain how it actually works. But
I really am starting to believe the opinion of the horsepower thing. Obviously, I don't know shit about cars, but I do understand the fact that if you give vehicles more horsepower, you can have more acceleration and more ability to, say, utilize the tires based off the power of the engine. Whereas now everything is capped at a level to where we don't get tire wear. We don't get differentiation in speed because everybody is basically racing the same line with the same throttle management and the same braking. And so if you give them that extra horsepower, you're going to see guys driving styles have to change to adapt. And hopefully that would open up the passing more.
Yeah, I think either you throw them all in Xfinity cars, or we have like some crazy Mario Kart style thing where like one of them gets like a random weight in their right rear and they have to drive with that the whole race.
But even in Xfinity though, they put them in the super speedway package, and then it's almost the same thing. Like you can't make clean passes.
Yeah. Speaking of can't make clean passes, betting card, shouts to you for hitting not one but two bets. Shouts to you for hitting the Priest over Cindric, kicked the shit out of me. Although I gotta know when Cindric when he was leading that race and like actually looked legit and was staying there, you were a little nervous, right?
Oh, I sure was.
Okay.
Through the two beasts and I don't know, two Peronis I had at the time when I was watching the race while being sick and just enjoying cars going around in circles, I definitely thought that Cindric was going to be a legit contender to even win the race, because once they jumped the field on that separate like strategy on their tires, like, oh shit, like Priest was fast out front. He wasn't just a benefactor of the clean air. That car was fast.
Cindric, not Priest, right?
Cindric, yeah. But I do think though that they were fast probably because maybe they started their runs with like less air pressure and which ultimately cost them the race with both.
But it was interesting because Penske was the one that was like trying to get off cycle and trying to do weird stuff, and there was obviously a point where Cindric was going to win. There was a point where we thought Logano was going to win until he blew a tire. Yeah, it was an interesting race. It was a
Can we real quick? Why does it seem that Ryan Blaney is always the odd man out in these like weird strategy calls?
Because he's the most talented option, and I think they're trying stuff with other guys, and if it ends up working, they're gonna give it to the 12.
Like I just found it awkward that when they had that opportunity and decision to make, he pit when you had all three of the other guys, Barry included, with Logano and Cindric, stay out.
Yeah.
When, I don't know. I just find it weird that is happening, because I believe that happened at Dover too. Penske had gotten off cycle except for Blaney.
Yeah, Logano's team always seems willing to get wonky and do whatever, and then obviously Austin Cindric, and he has no shot most weeks, so they're going to give him a weird strategy. Cindric over Priest didn't hit. Chastain, I was just a literal lottery ticket, and of course he's the one crashing early in the race.
He's the one crashing and taking out Michael McDowell too,
And then there was points where I thought Reddick could be a legitimate force. Obviously didn't end up getting there. The Chase Elliott bet, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I think I was definitely sitting there around midnight on Saturday night, early into the hours of Sunday morning going, I don't want to add anything. All these numbers suck. And then I found that number and I convinced myself that it was a good play. And obviously, given his record and how good he's been, how rock solid he's been, it was probably fine. But like,
I don't know.
Was that grasping at straws, or was it actually like a decent?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was a bad bet by any means. Just with how solid Elliott has been,
especially
this year.
That number was fine. If it was 125, 130, that's fine. I think once you get like to the one above 150,
it's like the 150 mark is there. Those are like no-nos for me. I refuse to play those.
Yeah. So it's been a rough little patch, but I have confidence going into the playoffs that we're going to get this shit turned around.
Yeah, you had a little cushion.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot more of a cushion when Chase Elliott won Atlanta and everything was looking great, and then gave it all back. But it's just all the time.
That's the nature of this sport. I mean, and then obviously it's not shown on the card here, but personally, I hit a pretty large Bubba ticket because he was the first. What's that?
Yep. You mentioned that we talked on Tuesday.
Yep.
As I was texting with you, I think we need to be more open to a Bubba Wallace type number where it's going, even if you can get a 60 and obviously it's moved aggressively, if it's still at a point 35, 40 where it makes sense, I think is fine. I think it's the ones that, like, if it's like, say, Ty Gibbs or Briscoe or somebody who's like 22 and we bet it, and then all of a sudden we're talking and it's like 12 and he's priced around William Byron or something, like,
yeah,
of course that makes no sense to fire on.
I would have to go back and watch it, and I'm pretty sure I did advocate for Wallace, saying like 35, 40 was kind of the spot where I wanted to get in on him.
Yeah.
I wish obviously I didn't add it on the card. I probably should have, but
that's what I'm saying. I think we need to be. I think if we find, and obviously it's easier in hindsight after he wins to talk about it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a legitimate force. He was priced incorrectly, and that was a great on you hitting that one. Anything else Brickyard related before we get out of here, or before we flip the page and head to Iowa?
Yeah. Bubba effing Wallace wins the damn Brickyard 400. Like,
yeah. Oh, and then obviously
shove it up your pie hole, you haters. Like,
yeah. Well, and to have a team that doesn't have a charter be able to like rub it in NASCAR face, and
and look, I was telling a couple of people I was communicating with on Sunday after the race that when you cover races and when you're there in a working capacity, like, you have to be impartial. You can't show. You can't be partial to certain drivers. You can't be cheering in the press box, but it's probably a damn good thing that I was not there, because Bubba Wallace is the only driver that I've kind of paid attention to before even actually rewatching the sport. Yeah. It's just, simply because of the began as like the storyline. Like, he's the only black driver in the sport. Like, I thought that was cool as shit. And then to see his kind of growth as a driver, as a person, now getting to do interviews with him and see how he's changed over the last couple of years is incredible. And like, I'm not going to lie, like there were definite tears when he was able to do what he did, especially, I don't think I've been that nervous since Tyler Reddick's win at Homestead. I had a big ticket on Reddick last year at Homestead, but when he was coming to the white, and you're still wondering if he's going to have enough fuel to get around for another lap, my heart was jumping out of my chest.
Yeah. No, it was a hell of a win. And like we talked about, staving off Kyle Larson to seal the win was incredible. Major shouts to him. He was there all day. He was a legitimate force. And he's hit some rough passes, and 2311's going through some stuff, but he's clearly a better driver than kind of, he's elevated himself as a driver to another tier.
Well, and then one of the last things I want to do, I want to parlay on Kyle's talking about certain tracks and going there in the old guard. Bubba Wallace has the same amount of non-super speedway victories as the sport's most popular driver, and one of the guys that everybody thinks is the best in the sport, the guy currently leading the regular season points championship, Chase Elliott, since the beginning of the 2023 season. So let's not try to come out here and talk about, oh, this guy's only won once. This guy's got this many. This guy, blah, blah, blah. Winning in this sport, especially at the highest level, is hard even for the best.
Well, driver. And we've seen the last year or so, very often the best car is not winning. Like
William Byron, perfect example. His only win is at Daytona, the luckiest race of the year, according to a lot of people, a lot of the same people that argue for race winning at certain tracks and earning championships. Like, they also say that super speedways are the luck races.
Yeah. Well, and it was interesting to hear Denny talk about kind of like a little behind the scenes of the championship kind of thought process. And they're clearly looking to make changes. Nobody's exactly sure what that's going to be, and if that's going to be more of like not a one race thing, but a couple races, or how they're going to figure that out. But it'll be interesting. And I texted you, I think, on Sunday, and I mean it. Don't let me bet Tyler Reddick anymore. I don't care how good he's been. I don't care how good his numbers are. I don't care how good his outright price is.
Last week was the first week I've actually bet him in probably over a month.
Is great for 2.5 stages, and then takes an absolute dump on the track, whether it's his fault or not.
I was just gonna say that would definitely.
I know nonsense happens, but that dude and nonsense are like just following each other around
right now, for sure.
Blown tires, spun out, knuckleheads, engine blowing, doing stupid stuff, pit road penalties. I just I say, what about Tyler Reddick? Say no, just don't. No,
we've had this conversation.
No top 5s, no top 10s, no head to heads. I'm not gonna go against him really either. But me and Tyler Reddick are done for the rest of the year.
We've had this discussion in the Win the Race Discord, which is worth its weight in gold. And even if that's the only aspect of the site that you take advantage of, it's still worth the price of admission. But
yeah,
something we've all been saying is like Reddick is the type of guy right now that, similar to what happened with Ricky Stenhouse at Daytona, finally, once everybody decides, like, you know what, screw this guy, we can't bet on him anymore, he's going to find himself in victory lane, and nobody's going to be on it. But that's almost like what it's going to need for him to do it, because he's always garnering attention from the betting community because he looks so good on the metrics. He looks good on the track, as you said, for the first 70%, 65% of the race, and then something happens.
Right, but Charlie Brown keeps lining up to kick the football, and Lucy keeps taking it away. At some point, we have to stop running and trying to kick the football. Like, you can say he'll win when the community's not on it, but every week we're lining up to kick the football.
That's what I was just, yeah.
Like, we have to stop. We have to stop. All right, let's talk.
Kyle's gonna start a hashtag Don't Bet Reddick.
I mean, at this point, I'm going to have more drivers on my list that I can't bet than drivers that I actually can. And the numbers are gross. And yeah. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, all 450. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Dennis Hamlin, 750. William Byron, 9. Chase, 11. Logano, 14. Reddick, 16. Briscoe, 16. That's inside 20-1. I have 2 bets, but I'm going to give you the floor first. Who's jumping out? Who's compelling? Are you adding anybody to your outright card?
I mean, if we're being honest, at this point last year, if we saw Tyler Reddick 16, I mean, we would be max betting that. He's actually 20 in Vegas at a spot that I was very tempted to fire on, but as you said,
this is what I'm telling you.
Basically,
literally said he's going to win when no one bets him, but you're betting him every week.
Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore about the books. Like, how do you open a week with 3 guys priced at 450 or shorter? And even if they actually opened, it was around 5 or 550. Even that. Do you remember when Larson used to open at 5-1 at like Bristol? We have 1 race of data at Iowa last year, and that was on a fresh repave in the corners. And now we're getting another curveball thrown at us that they're bringing brand new tires here.
Yeah, I'm not really convinced tires actually matter. Obviously,
not that it matters, but at the same, that should make the odds at least reflect an uncertain race of, like, you can't have 3 guys posted as what should be the closing number on a favorite.
Well, it's just frustrating because there's obviously the books are protecting themselves. They're making a sport that's already hard enough to bet even harder, and they're pricing out, and they're basically not encouraging any more of the casual fans to start getting into it and start betting their favorite driver every week.
I don't know. Look, the way that they talk on the broadcast, like when you have Steve Letarte out there saying like, "Oh, Chase Elliott 6-1 running third right," or no, he's like running 11. Chase Elliott 6-1, and he's on like the losing strategy. Like they're not paying attention to that shit. I think the casual is actually more inclined to just look at these numbers and say, "Oh, this guy's good. Let me bet this."
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, especially like when they're betting Mahomes at like minus 140. If they
Exactly,
can get
like
6-1
because
on them, they're gonna.
yeah, when they come over from the team sports stuff, not necessarily
Yeah.
golf. I feel like golf bettors would translate pretty well to NASCAR because
Oh yeah, it's
they're
very similar.
because
Very, very
the
similar.
outright market is kind of similar, but
And I
like
think
team
there's
sports,
actually a lot of crossover between golf and NASCAR bettors, especially like
yeah,
it's easy to bet both sports, but like yeah, it's just I don't know. Like the more and that's the other thing too is like I'm kind of getting a little more aggressive pre-flop because I'm so worried that once we see practice and qualifying, there's like last week I shouldn't have bet a single thing after practice and qualifying. There was nothing worth betting.
yeah. I didn't find very much value at all post.
So I'm tempted to so I'm kind of like especially the outright market, like I'm sort of interested. But like you got to get in early or you're just getting like it's in and then you're just betting numbers that are gross and then the books aren't incentivized. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a difficult game that we're playing now in the sense of you always want to have the most data possible, especially when you're betting outrights, and you want to kind of see the type of car that they unload with. But as we've seen a lot of the times now, sometimes practice isn't necessarily translating to what's happening on Sunday. And a lot of that has to do with maybe the track temp was different or they went out in a clean track versus traffic. And so, although you kind of preferably you would rather wait till after practice and qualifying to play an outright number. But at the same time, the way the books are adjusting them and they're cutting them like so short that you don't want to play it, because a lot of this is you're betting a number, not necessarily a driver. At least that's the way that I look at this. And so there are certain guys that I refuse to bet under a certain spot, and the books are eclipsing that mark, and so they're unbettable to me.
yeah. So it's getting more and more frustrating to bet. Obviously, the playoffs, and then we should look at the championship or the season, the championship
We do
odds.
need to start looking at that. Yeah,
Because like I don't have a single suit future, and I'm kind of like at this point. At least I had a couple last year, and I think maybe because we ended up getting those great numbers on Blaney and on Reddit.
yeah, but we got that in the round of 8.
Well, I know what I'm saying is that are we just being patient and waiting for that, or do you like was that like a fluke, or is that something we can kind of potentially find? Obviously, we're not guaranteed to get there with those tickets. But
Look, we talked about this with Worm before the season started. To me, the only guy that you could have played prior to the season or even live during the season was Kyle Larson. Because unless like Armageddon hit and he was never allowed to race this year, he was going to win multiple races and be the championship favorite. I mean, he's gone down from, I think he opened at like 550 or even 6 in some places, 650 to begin the year. He's like 350 at Bet365. I have the odds up now. So I mean, obviously you got a good return on that. And you know, if he gets to Phoenix, even if Christopher Bell's there, he's probably going to be 2-1.
yeah, it's just like
But beyond him, like
I was hoping some other guys would float, but nobody's really floated.
yeah, that's the thing is nobody's moved. Like there hasn't been anything. Just taking a quick glance at the championship odds, the only guy that's moved significantly is Shane, who with his 3 wins, he's got a good chance to make some noise, surprise in the playoffs. And then I do think Bubba, currently sitting at 33, he's probably moved a couple dollars, and he was probably around 50, 55.
Yeah. What's Briscoe's price?
He's shrunk. He's like 20.
Because he's somebody that I could see being somewhat interesting when we get to Phoenix. Like he's somebody that makes sense for there.
But so this is the problem with like betting that stuff. And what makes the playoffs enticing. Even a guy like Briscoe,
I guess I could just do this.
He's only sitting on 1 win. He's 8th.
Yeah.
In the standings. So like,
well, we talked about it. We were watching the NASCAR betting preview show. Like, I do think that like Joey Logano winning Vegas and getting to the championship and winning it all again is well within the realm of possibility.
100%.
16 is pretty gross. I don't know if I can get there. I'd probably want something with a 2.
And then we're going to continue to go back to this guy, but honestly, if Tyler Reddick can win a race if he clinches a spot in the playoffs before the playoffs, he's going to jump up the playoff standings because of where he's currently sitting in the regular season points. Like it is a wild assertion, but
maybe Reddick that's the way to play it. Maybe the way to play it is to not worry about which race he's going to win, and you just bet him to make the Final Four and to win the championship. And you hope he gets Christopher Bell hot and just ends up in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, just as we kind of took a little detour there in terms of championship outrights, after what happened really last year, I just don't know how you get invested on anything.
No. All right, so let's talk outrights that we're actually betting. I'm betting William Byron, who is 11-1 at Fanduel. There's actually 12s if you have offshore. I think that's a incredible number for the CLV Casino. I think he goes out. I think he qualifies really well, and I think his number is like 8 or 7 when we talk on Saturday night. So I grabbed that, and I grabbed the aforementioned Joseph Logano. Do I think he's the favorite or anywhere near that? Probably not. But I've seen him and Penske do really well at short flat. I think this is a good spot for him. He's obviously strong here last year. This is only the second time they've run it in the next gen. It's hard because some of his numbers are skewed by him being in the championship at Phoenix. But I feel like we're due for a really gross, figures a way out, ends up being near the front at the end, and gets the job done. So 16-1 for Logano seems wrong as well. I think when we're talking on Saturday night, he's like 9 or 10. So I will take that little bit of CLV. I will put it in my pocket, and I will hope that one of those two guys cash it for me on Sunday.
I hate Logano from a betting standpoint.
No, you from an all stand. You don't like him as a driver. You don't like him.
What's really funny about that is Joey probably resembles the mentality that I would probably have if I was a driver, or kind of the same mentality I had when I played sports in high school. But yeah, I don't hate either of those. I think Byron continuously is mispriced, but I do worry about his ability to actually win races, which, as I said, he's only won the Daytona 500. And beyond that, he can look like the best car and still not win. And then last week when he's puts himself in position, stuff doesn't fall his way, and then he runs out of fuel coming to the checkered. So yeah, I don't know if he's cursed or what's going on there, but yeah. Byron, I like the numbers. It's just, it's more heartbreak than it is excitement watching him and just kind of thinking like, okay, how's this going to go wrong here? He's like Corey Haim, not in the sense of being as dominant as Corey, but in the fact that he's always there. He just always has something, and you're anticipating something happening to prevent him from winning.
Yeah. I mean, I probably should put him on the short list of guys that I shouldn't bet every week, but he's keeps finding a way into my card, so I don't know. I am backing up the Logano with a top 5 as well. Friends over at 365 have plus 250 on him to top 5. That feels fun. So I'm going to I'm gonna do that. I'm also tempted to add Byron because, like you talked about, like he feels like a guy who's like 3 to 5, but I have a hard time betting top threes because I could see Kyle Larson dog walk the field, kick the shit out of everybody. So I don't want to really get involved in top Chevy. I don't want to get, and then top three with him, Seabell, Blaney, like this, he could be 4th or 5th. And his top 5 price is like plus 100, plus 125, 150. Like, I don't know. That's not as appealing, especially when I'm already betting Logano. It feels like a tough needle to thread to hit 2 top 5s, which the parlays that some of these books offer on getting 2 top 5s.
I mean, if you parlay,
hilarious.
Yeah, you parlay 2 of those, you're going to get some decent numbers. Yeah, as far as the outright board goes, I hit a couple before I came home from Vegas. I
can get see, this is crazy. I can get 12 to 1, and if you go on to like our favorite offshore, for example, they have 2 drivers who suck to get top 10s,
and
it's
probably
like
7 to 1.
Yeah, it's like it's not even that. I think it's like 350. Like it's egregious.
Yeah. So as I was saying, before I left Vegas, I hit a couple of drivers outrights. Obviously, the numbers are not available to the masses here, but if you could zoom in real quick on the board there. So it just kind of everything was in that range of like 40 or longer for me. And so it'll be hard to say, go bet this guy. But I do think that the RFK camp, along with the Penske guys, are probably drivers to think about coming into this week. Ryan Preece, obviously one of the most popular guys in terms of early week long shots. Anything 60 or longer on him, I don't mind hitting. Obviously, you're not going to be placing a bunch on this, but he's gotten shorter at a bunch of places, like 50 at DK. I'm on championship. I was going to say he's 125 at 365, but no, he's down to 50 at 365. I know at BetMGM, he's also gotten much shorter there. But I do think Preece, similar to Bubba last week when I got him at 60, you could still kind of get that with him is good. And then Keselowski too at that 35 mark, or I got him at 40. Even 33. Look, I'm not going to nitpick over 2 cents, or I guess I'd be like 20 cents on Keselowski, but
I think 33, 35 is fine. Like our favorite offshore has him at 25. That's just dumb.
I wouldn't go there. And then the same thing with Buescher. Like he's got to be okay. Let's put the threshold at 30. If you could get 30 on Buescher, and then 33, 35 on Keselowski, and then Preece, like you want to double him up with Kes. I don't hate playing those. And then obviously I played Cindric individually, and then I piggybacked that with Penske. I got 4 to 1. That number's low.
I like that. I like that a lot. Penske.
Yeah. So for show, this is probably the direction I should have went to begin with, but I'm going to play Ford because they are the longer shot manufacturer here. I do think that this week you have all of those guys that are fully capable of winning this race, whether it's historically doing well at this type of track or just the way they've been running recently. I just think everybody that fits into this camp, and this is not even including from Row Motorsports, I think all 7 of those guys have a legit shot to win this weekend at Iowa.
Yeah. So for right now on 365, obviously not everybody can get down there consistently, but Ford is 2 to 1 to win the race. Penske is plus 350 to win the race. Do you think there's enough potential value with the RFK boys?
Oh yeah,
to go down to like 2 to 1.
Yeah, because my worry, like obviously, if they're all priced pretty long when you look at Buescher. So DK has the best price at 230 for Ford. But when you look at their prices, obviously they're much longer than the Penske guys, but Brad Keselowski is coming off of a 5th place finish, and he's going to be qualifying pretty damn late. And if there's anybody that we've seen this year that has had the ability to win races who has also had issues, it's Keselowski. And so, I kind of want to have that action without having to play him individually and having coverage on the Penske camp.
Do you think 6 or 9 to top Ford or 15 to 1 on Cindric are worthwhile?
I think they're a little bit too short this week.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the top Ford market's been good to us, or at least seemingly like it had good value, I think, with Blaney and Logano. But it is a tough market. But like even the top 5 price, what was I was looking at top 5 over on?
Well, I was just gonna say, so Keselowski's priced at 4 to 1 to top 5. I would rather play that and protect myself from Blaney and Logano in particular.
Yeah. You can get 5 to 1 over at 365 for him to top 5.
Yeah, like that's a much better spot than playing him to top Ford, which to top Ford, he's beating one of the race favorites in Ryan Blaney and one of the most popular bets of the week, Joey Logano. So why not just bet him the freaking win at that point?
Because the Ford could still be 4th or 5th. Like Blaney, I know he could be really good, but like
I want to get paid out.
It could easily be 2 HMS guys, 2 Toyotas, and then like.
Then give me the top 5. Then you're protected, and you don't have to worry about Blaney or Logano.
Would you rather have Priest at 7 to 1? You probably maybe get a better number to top 5, or Priest at 9 to 1 to.
Oh, definitely 4. The top 5 number. Yeah, that seems wild.
Anything? See, top Chevy. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you wanted to fade Larson, but like. I don't think there's anybody in this area that's even worthwhile.
No. And then I will say, so the first bet of the week that I put on the card, the number's not available. I still think it's bettable at places if you can get it at that like around that 2 to 1 mark is Bubba Wallace top 10. We got it when it opened at plus 220. Yeah. It got bet down rather quickly. It's 175 at 365. Caesars has it at 175. Screw it. I don't care. Win the race is fair market value, says 2 to 1. But Wallace is going to be qualifying 3rd to last. We're talking about a guy who has never had this amount of or this lack of pressure going into these races to end the regular season. It's the first time he's ever clinched a playoff spot before the playoffs have started. And he's also been one of the like better guys at short tracks the last 2 years as well. I mean, a lot of people think of Bubba as a intermediate or super speedway driver, but short tracks have actually been his best when you look at like average running position, driver rating, and then his like just overall performances. So Wallace going out extremely late on a track that may be another track position type of race, like sure, give me that.
Do you have interest in laddering him up to top 5, top 3, top Toyota, or is it kind of like you think he'll have a strong race, probably be somewhere in that like 7 to 10 range, but
I don't hate. Look, the one guy I regret not betting before I left Vegas was Wallace because he was 55 at Circa, and if Bubba Wallace wins here at Iowa, I won't be shocked because when you have that like monkey taken off your back, you start to perform at a much more relaxed level. And he even said that. He did an interview with Corey LaJoie on Stacking Pennies, and he talked about how these next 4 races, he's going to go have fun. Something he hasn't been able to do in the regular season in quite some time.
And he's got a late qualifying spot of a good chance to put himself near the front.
Yeah, exactly.
And just try and stay there most of the day.
So yes, I do think taking Bubba, going like top 10, top 5, and maybe screw it, even a small play on an outright, like sure, why not?
Yeah, you probably don't want to do top Toyota because if he's beating Hamlin and Bell and Reddick and Briscoe, he's probably a race contender or at least top 3.
Yeah, he's running inside the top 5 for sure at that point.
Yeah. What's his top 3 number? Yeah, 15-1 to top 3. So he could lose to 2 Toyotas and still be 15-1. Where if you bet his top Toyota, it's 15-1. So
yeah, that does. Yeah.
5-1 to top 5. That's kind of fun. All right. Well, we're almost to the hour mark. Is there any other match bets or anything else jumping out to you as we kind of look to close down shop and talk about any final bets that we want to make?
So I did add one over at MGM. Bubba Wallace over Chastain, currently at plus 110. I know there's a lot of excitement about Ross this week, but I mean, what the hell was the guy doing last week?
He's a fucking knucklehead, man.
He's going to have a shitty qualifying spot this week. They haven't had qualifying speed all season, so he's going to be starting way back in the field at a track that only has 2 lanes. It's just hard to trust that team, and going up against the previous race winner on the highest of highs, who has no pressure on him, who's basically going to be going YOLO to win a race at the end too, but also trying to play for points. So yeah, I would much rather take the plus money with Wallace.
I have a question for you. I know there's some hype around this fellow this week, Mr. Josh Berry, but Stenhouse is plus 190 against Berry. Kind of interesting.
It's interesting for the number, but I don't know.
As always,
here's what makes the decision for me to not play Stenhouse. I'm not going to play Berry either. I'm not betting a outright or a matchup at that number, but
yeah,
Stenhouse is not going to qualify well. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
And Berry is in the 4th Penske car, who's been pretty good at qualifying this year at times. So he's probably going to be much quicker, and you're going to have a 15 to 20 spot gap possibly to start a race.
Chastain seems fun too.
Yeah.
All right. Byron outright, Logano outright, Logano top 10 are all on the card. We'll see if I add anything else. Brian has Ford to win. He has Wallace top 10 and Wallace over Chastain. I might follow that Wallace over Chastain. I want some Bubba on my card. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it. We'll drop comments on the YouTube video if we had any bets. We'll also drop them on Twitter. Come join us in the Discord over at Win the Race. $30 gets you in a whole month. If you don't like it, you can jump out at that point, but it's well worth the price of admission. You'll have a lot of fun in the Discord. You'll get some good sims and some good tools. Yeah. Ryan and his team are doing an amazing job over there, so make sure you go give them a little look and let them know we sent you. They do have some free content you can look at, some speed reads and stuff, so I highly recommend checking that out, following him on Twitter and all that good stuff. Brian, it's good to be back. It's good to talk shop. I gotta represent my boy this week, William Byron. He will get us to victory lane. I'm ready for it. Let's go, baby. We'll be back Saturday night in your feed Sunday morning for another race weekend. Then we go to the Glen, and then playoffs. Or do we have one more week after that?
So we got 4 races. We got Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, and then Daytona to end the season.
Right. So we'll see. So we have 4 races to get us to 1,500 subs. So get us there. We want to do a giveaway.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, your DFS degenerates, your sports betting buddies, all that good stuff. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.